Okay, more on controllability and neuroticism and anxiety. There's this fantastic study that was done, I believe it was 1989. This is the study that when I heard about this study as an undergraduate student, I put my pencil down, I stopped taking notes, and I decided that I needed to study anxiety disorders for the rest of my life. I hope you enjoy hearing about this study as much as I did when I first heard about it. The study was done in 1989 by Bill Sanderson. This, I believe, was his doctoral dissertation with his mentor, Dave Barlow. And what they did was they took individuals who suffered from panic attacks. And one thing that you have to know about panic attacks is that you can actually induce panic attacks in people who are panic prone. What you do is you have them inhale carbon dioxide, not carbon monoxide because that would kill them, carbon dioxide. And when they inhale the carbon dioxide, they start to feel a sense of hyperventilation. And even though it's not dangerous, people who are prone to panic will more often than not actually experience panic-like sensations when they inhale that CO2. So they brought in a bunch of participants who suffered from panic attacks and they hooked them up to a CO2 delivery machine. And so the mask went on their faces and they would be inhaling CO2, carbon dioxide. And what they did was they randomly assigned the participants to one of two groups. The first group of participants were told, listen, there's this dial in front of you. And when we start giving you the CO2 to inhale, if you would like to increase the amount of CO2, you can turn the dial to the right. And if you'd like to decrease the amount of CO2, you can turn the dial to the left. The second group was told, here's this dial. It doesn't do anything. You will be inhaling CO2. Now, the reality of the situation is that everybody got exactly the same amount of CO2. So the first group was given the illusion of control. They thought they had control over the CO2, but they didn't actually have control. And the second group was not given the illusion of control over the delivery of CO2. They went ahead, they delivered the CO2, and I'm sure you can guess what happened. The participants who were not given an illusion of control had more symptoms of a panic attack, reported that those symptoms were more severe, and reported more distress, and actually had more panic attacks than the group that was given an illusion of control. What does this tell us about the issue of control in panic and anxiety? I want to underscore the fact that these individuals didn't actually have control over this stressful situation. They only thought they had control, and that makes all the difference because in our lives, sometimes we have real control over situations. Sometimes maybe we don't have so much control over situations, but people differ on the degree to which they feel a sense of control over themselves and over their lives. If we allow ourselves to feel that we do control our lives, then we are less likely to experience the debilitating effects of stressful situations, and we're less likely to experience debilitating anxiety. So what does this mean for us, and what does it mean for raising kids? Obviously, we want to give our kids a sense of control over themselves and their lives. It doesn't mean that they actually can control everything that happens to them. It's just not realistic. But for example, with very young children, you can give them choices. You can allow them to select between good choices, and that gives them a sense of control. As children get older, we want to foster independence. That gives them a sense of control. So in developmentally appropriate ways, we start to let go little by little as children get older, give them more and more degrees of independence as they get older and are able to make decisions for themselves. And we allow them to make mistakes. We allow them to learn cause and effect. We allow them to deal with the natural consequences of their behavior without always intervening, without becoming helicopter parents that over-control everything so much in their lives that they never develop a sense of independence. So, and for ourselves, that means that we take realistic stock of what in our lives we can control versus not. And we don't allow ourselves to be fooled into the illusion of not having control over our lives. We can control an awful lot in our lives. There's also a lot that we can't control, but we should try to be honest with ourselves and really take stock of what stressors in our lives we can control, so that we start to develop more of a sense of control over ourselves and over our experiences, which will reduce our emotional reactivity and allow us to feel less negative emotion, especially for those of us who have naturally high levels of neuroticism, if we lean toward that type of temperament.